I don't know what he did.
I'll just go live. It's okay. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Minion Radio Show. It's D to the J with a roll away. And let me tell you right now, guys, I have got a show for you, and I'm going to be honest. This one right here is going to have some fry to it. I'm talking about seasoning. I'm talking about butter. I'm talking about cornmeal. They have hit a personal note, and DJ is fired up today. Chuck is on vacation and for a little while. We don't know how long it's going to be. I'm taking the show today because I ain't having no plan today. I'm having all seriousness. I do have some sports stories that I want to cover, but I'm going to be honest, sports is going to be very short because there was an article on the news that basically, how can I say this, got my goat to keep it very clean. We're live on Let Go Radio. We're on Facebook Live. I'm letting everybody tune in. Elizabeth, thank you for joining me. I'm giving people a few minutes to tune in here because we had to go about a minute or two late trying to get everything worked out. Got Miss Winnie with me, and I know when Mama Bear hears this and she gets the full extent of it, Mama Bear might even growl on the radio. I ain't even playing, y'all. All right, so let me just say first off, special shout out to Grandmaster Jack Dart in the Battle of the Seven Cities tournament. It was a great tournament. Tournament went well. I took first place in. I took second place in forms and third place in sparring. The tournament went well. Not as well as I wanted it to go, but you win some, you lose some, you keep on moving. I know that Master Jack is going to be doing another tournament in October, which I will be competing again. I know I said I wasn't going to for a while, but when Jack puts on the tournament, DJ's there. I don't care if it's Antarctica, Alaska, I don't care where it's at, if I got to roll. Let me let y'all know, I want to thank all of the representatives from Tiger Martial Arts that came out. Steve for driving us, and Emily for supporting me, Mike, Jerry, Mr. Tyler. Congratulations, Aaliyah, for your wonderful job through Tiger. She took first in women's division sparring, and she took second in kata, so great job for her. I do want to mention that. I am wearing the official 17th Annual Battle of the Seven Cities t-shirt. I'm doing this for Jack because I always do it the night after the tournament. I've been wearing this shirt for a couple of nights, but don't worry, I washed it. It's nice and clean to go. All right, so let me hit a couple of these sports stories real quick because most of this show is going to be covered on a special needs issue. It's going to be about 45 minutes. I'm not doing a lot of sports today, really, because I feel that this is more important. All right, so the first story I want to cover, and I'm going to cover this briefly. Basically, corner Darius Slay of the Detroit Lions has no intention of attending Detroit Lions mandatory minicamp this week. I ain't going, Slay said Monday during Instagram live stream, according to Dave Burkett of the Detroit Free Press. When asked why he plans to forego minicamp, Slay responded, "Hey, man, I'm chilling." All right, let me explain something. And with the mood I'm in right now, Darius Slay don't want to get in my way because I might slay him over. Just to let you know, when it says mandatory, your team needs to be where they need to be. Everybody needs to be there because every player makes an impact on every team. And if you say, I ain't going because you're chilling, really? You need to be traded. If it's going to be like that and you just going to give a reason because you want to chill for a while, I chill every day. But I go where I'm supposed to go. Miss Winnie, I'm fired up today. I'm telling you what, get up here and comment, calm me down, because I'm about to clothesline somebody. Y'all, whew, my blood pressure's up. I'm pretty sure my cholesterol's up. I might be standing and not even know it, y'all. Don't mess with me. All right, so really, I mean, mandatory minicamp is mandatory minicamp. Let me just cover that. If it says mandatory, your coach wants you to be there. He's already having I think it's $80,000 that he's got to forego now because of his deciding not to. $88,000. He's forfeiting his $250,000 bonus, and then he's going to be fined $88,000. So that's over $300,000, $350,000 that he's going to be fined for missing the mandatory minicamp. Now, basically, I want to talk about next the Rams and Todd Gurley. Last year, Todd Gurley was getting 10 carries a game in the playoffs and moving around. Todd Gurley has had a problem with his knee since last year. And basically, with what's going on, if a player is hurt and he says that he's not hurt, and he keeps telling people, I'm fine, I'm good to go, and the production is not happening, and trainers know about it, and if you withhold this information, this is not good. So basically, Todd Gurley is not going to be at OTAs. He hasn't been. He's not going to be at mandatory min. I don't think he's going to be participating in mandatory minicamp because they're trying to save him for the start of the season, which I understand, and I get what they're trying to do. So now it's going to be told. It's been told that they're going to lighten his workload. And let me read just the first couple of lines on this. The Los Angeles Rams have a plan for star running back Todd Gurley this season, and likely involving lightening the running backs. We average 308 touches per campaign during the first 4 years of his career. Gurley could see considerably fewer in 2019, according to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. Now, and this is because, again, the whole thing that's surrounding this is the issue with the knee. The cuts seem to be fine. Everything looks good right now. But when you get hit and when you have, guys coming at you every down, first down, second down, and if you're a third down back, it's even harder because you're trying to get the first down, it's going to cause an issue. So we're going to have to see what is happening with all of this and why, how Todd Gurley is going to play out. Is he going to last the remainder of the season? Because the problem is, with basically everything that's going on, as far as when you are expected to be the guy, and they don't have C.J. Anderson now. So, I mean, C.J. Anderson's not going to be the carrier of the workload, but they did draft a running back in the draft because they knew, again, that Todd Gurley's knee was not in good health. Okay, so we'll have to see what happens. We have to see, how it goes, because how it plays out, are the Rams even going to make the playoffs? Some say no, some say yes, and all of that. Jared Goff, great quarterback, blah, blah, blah. So, you've got to see how, that's going to go. I honestly think without Gurley and the touches that he has, the run production is going to fall to the back that they drafted. The running back's got to carry most of the load because that takes pressure off of Jared Goff. So we'll see how the Rams do in preseason, which is not going to show much and doesn't mean anything. Roger Goodell is talking about fewer preseason games, so you go there. And then, the start of the season. It's all within, the first 8 games are going to tell the story. Really, the first 4 games, I believe, are going to tell the story of what's going to happen. Guys, if you want to call in, we are live on Let Go Radio. You can call in 757-774-7552 and get in and comment on this because I want people to comment on this next story that I'm going to cover. All right, so those are the sports stories that I have. And for the next 50 minutes, we're going to cover an issue that needs to be covered and has needed to be covered since day one. All right, I found this article yesterday on Facebook, and I stopped because when I saw 9 it says special needs students forced to leave their prom, parents claim it was robbed from them. This is Yahoo, and this was on May 30th, 2019. Families are demanding immediate and severe action after a group of special needs students from a New Jersey high school were escorted out of their senior prom early despite numerous objections. According to the parents of these students, 9 disabled children attended Hillsborough High School senior prom on May 17th alongside 2 neurotypical friends and 3 district aides. And although they left their houses prepared for a wonderful evening, each of them came home feeling traumatized and robbed of the experience, their parents say. We are very disheartened to have to tell you that they rounded up all of them, all 11 of them, before they finished their desserts, before the King and Queen and Last Dance, and they were made to leave against their will. One of the students' mothers, Deborah Myers, said during the Board of Education meeting on Tuesday, they were humiliated and herded out like sheep. Now, I want to explain, I've watched the video on this, and before I go on to read the article, I will go on to read the article, more and more about this. And Curtis, thank you for joining us. This one had me in tears, guys. I don't get fired up very much, but this one right here, this one made me angry, and I'm going to say this to keep it as clean as I can. This one pissed me off big time. To be honest, it's hard enough having special needs to begin with. It's hard enough to find a spot to where we feel normal. On a school function, prom night, especially, prom night, where everything is worked out. The prom ticket said 11:15, or the students were supposed to stay. All of the students were supposed to stay until 11:15. That was the mandatory time. It's Yahoo, Elizabeth. I'll send you the article after the show. As far as basically the meat of this situation, they were not given a reason as to why they were told they had to leave. They were asked at 10:40 is when this whole mess started, to have to get up, get their things, okay? And when they ask why, the aides told them, get up, I'm the adult, we're leaving. Let me explain something. Just because a child or a student has a disability, just because a person has a disability, the prom is supposed to be one of the most magical nights of a student's life. And if you are going to sit there and rob them of that because you want to go home early, now that's my assumption. That's my assumption. I'm not saying this was in the article. I don't see, there was no reason for them to have to leave that prom early, because the limo drivers that picked up the students were told by the principal and emailed by all of the coordinators that they were supposed to leave at 11:15. And if anything happened, they were supposed to be called to let know first before anything was done. There was no call. And when one of the students that was in charge of coordinating, one of the special needs students was in charge, was trying to call the limo driver to ask what was going on, one of the 3 aides that were there demanded that child give him his phone because he was on the phone with the limo driver. And when the student told him no, he was escorted out by security. That right there is a number one no-no. And if this school doesn't make it right, I watched the board meeting video is actually in this article. The board meeting video, if you go to about 1 hour, is when they start talking about this whole issue. And the parents and some of the kids wrote letters of how humiliating they were. And then the whole problem with this school does so many things for the disabled. There's a disabled track team. There's a disabled cheerleading team. There's different clubs for people with disabilities. So this school rocks when it comes to disabled things, and I've researched a lot of this. But my problem with this whole situation, it's hard enough for a child to fit in. But when you're a senior, okay, and when you've made it to the end, you've made it to the Mecca, you've gotten to the end of the line, okay, you've worked your butt off for 4 years to get where you are, to go to your senior prom, and you're asked to leave almost 45 minutes early so that they can get you out so that the kids, the quote-unquote normal kids, can have a normal time. That is not right. But let me read just a little bit more of this article, because I want to make sure that I specify everything here. Okay. Essenberg explained that it was only 10:40 when the students were collected to leave. Although they weren't supposed to head out until 11:15. In letters sent out district-wide, parents were told that the prom was ending at 11:30, so they were going to get them out at 11:15, because they normally do take time to get the special needs kids out so they can gather their things and things like that. Let's see. The prom was ending at 11:30, and no students were allowed to leave until 15 minutes prior. She went on to say that she and the other parents made an effort to make each of the teens feel as normal and typical as we could in renting a limousine, helping the students get dressed, even hosting a pre-prom party for them to take photos together. But what the parents couldn't have prepared them for was a last-minute change of plans allegedly determined by the district aides. Another mother, Catherine Trusky, shared a letter. Her daughter, Lily Doyle, was traumatized by the experience after one of the special needs friends was escorted out of the event by hotel security. That's the event I just talked about. According to Trusky's recount of the evening, one of the boys who was provided with the limo driver's number attempted to call the limo driver to clarify picking the pickup time after the students were excuse me, let me read that again. I'm sorry, this has got me. Let's see. According to Trusky's recount of the evening, one of the boys who was provided with the limo driver's number attempted to call the driver to clarify the pickup time. After the students asked the aides if they could stay, a district representative allegedly demanded that the student hand over his phone, and when he didn't, security was called to escort him out. The students were embarrassed and humiliated and led out of their senior prom in a way that was not befitting an animal. And that's in the video. If you guys watch the video, you'll see what she's talking about. Trusky told the board. Now, administrators from Hillside Township Public School, Hillsborough Township Public School, are investigating the incident. Although they tell Yahoo Lifestyle they cannot provide details, the board has policies specifically prohibiting discrimination against the students based upon their disabilities and other protective categories set forth in the New Jersey law against discrimination. Therefore, whenever such an allegation is made, the board ensures that its administrators investigate the allegations and that they take such action is appropriate to address the issue in a statement from Jordan Sheriff, Superintendent of Hillsborough Township Public Schools, reads, it cannot, however, comment on the result of such investigations of any actions taken due to the privacy rights of both students and staff members. Even though the board cannot provide additional information on this issue, please know that it takes such allegations very seriously and does not condone discrimination of any kind, and remains committed to providing all students with the opportunity for an excellence of education. Now, I want to go back to this because this right here, this is wrong. This is wrong. And I want to explain why. And I want to get Miss Winnie in on this. So, Miss Winnie, if you got your headphones ready, just basically from what I've been reading, I want to know, as a mom, as I've said before, when you make it to the end of your senior year and you get to go to a prom, to be asked to leave 40 minutes early, number one, and given no explanation as to why. How I know the mama bear would come out. And guys, as you come in, if I'm not acknowledging you, I'm sorry. I'm very wrapped up in this right now. So I do want to thank you for joining the Sports Minion Radio Show. How would that make you feel, Miss Winnie? Having a daughter going to a prom and then with special needs and asked to leave for no reason.
First of all, I feel like as a mother to a daughter with a disability, special needs, special care needs, and the excitement level, because I'm sure every last one of them was excited, want to join and be a part of a prom that they so deserve to be a part of, just like anyone else. They made it through 12 years. They ready for this prom. They all dressed up. The parents went out to make them look beautiful and, just sending them there.
Prom dresses, hairdos,
and love and hugs and kisses.
Yeah.
And the parents are just as excited.
Exactly.
As I would be. But to have your child get a call saying that, or receive them at home and you're wondering why they're at home, that I would be a word that I probably wouldn't want to use, or
Lord Jesus.
Ready. So I would just say pissed. Okay?
Yeah, pissed is good enough.
Pissed is good enough. It's still a little hard, but I would be pissed.
Well,
you know that, and I would want to immediately go to the school right away.
Oh yeah.
Find out who this person was that forced my child out of a prom that he or she so deserved to be a part of.
And I think
it's unexcusable, unacceptable.
That's true. I think the biggest issue for me is there was a guest there were I think it was 10 students altogether, and one of the students was a guest of one of the special needs kids that had a phone and that was very bright and very intelligent. And when he went to call the limo driver to see what was going on, one of the aides demanded that he give them his phone, because he was on the on the phone with the limo driver to see what in the world was going on, because the kids are embarrassed and scared and confused. They're not sure why this is happening because they were told one thing, and this is all happening so fast. And yet when he tells them no, they escort him out with hotel security. The child has done nothing wrong. I cannot, I have seen a lot of crazy things, Miss Winnie, but this right here, this is a prom. This is not rocket science. One of the Hillsborough staff that commented on the issue, he said, if nothing else, the children should have been allowed to stay 15 minutes ahead of the allotted time, because it was such a special night for them. And one of the children wrote in a letter, this is what got me, I just want my prom back again, and I'll never be able to get it back because of what happened. And this shows that the children were traumatized. I've said this 100 times. It's bad enough it's bad enough that they were, that they go through life with special needs and they have to adapt to that. But when something like this that happens, I believe twice in a lifetime, your junior prom and your senior prom, and I was lucky enough to go to both. What kind of a person is an actual aide that doesn't give you a reason of why you have to leave? That and I found out later in the video, when you watch the video that is in the article, that the principal was never even contacted, that this happened until after it was done.
See, I would want to get to the person that's dismissed, that the head person that made the decision to say put them out. That's the person I would want to personally have a conversation with, because one, you had no right telling my daughter
exactly
she cannot be a part of this prom.
Exactly.
And for whatever reason, you decided to dismiss these children from being a part of something that they deserve. I have an issue with that. And yes, they will hear Mrs. Wilson mouth for something like that if that was my daughter.
But they need.
I would want to talk to the principal. Yes.
Exactly.
I want to talk to the person that made that decision.
Exactly.
What made you do it? Why did you feel it was necessary for you to do it? Do you discriminate with them? Do you have a problem with someone like that?
Exactly.
What's your problem?
Exactly.
What's the issue? You don't know how your life can change in the next second. While you're making decisions like that to put a special needs individual out of a prom that they deserve to be, you rob them and they can never get that.
That's exactly right. That's
exactly.
It's done. It's done.
It don't even matter if they go to a special needs proms that they have. You would never get that moment back that they deserve to be a part of. And
the thing that teared me up, and I want to read two comments here that people have left. The thing that teared me up is the imprint in their mind. What is the last thing they're going to remember about that prom? Something that was said in the video is, even though a child has special needs or a person has special needs, their brains are like sponges. They soak up information like that, okay? My legs don't work, but I'm going to tell you right now, this brain right here, this brain soaks up information like you wouldn't believe.
Right.
And there were two comments, and one that I'm gonna have to leave a little bit out here. That's blank blank. They have the same rights as normal students to enjoy the celebration. Thank you, Curtis, for that. Elizabeth just said, just because you know the reason was because they are lazy and don't want to take the extra time to get them to their vehicles when the prom over. That's true. They wanted to get them out early. That's exactly right, Elizabeth. And Curtis, I will send that link to you as well. Well, I got my football team up in here now. This right here, I cannot imagine how the students feel. And the problem is the word normal gets thrown around.
What is normal?
There is no such thing as normal, because if you look at life, everybody suffers from something that is hard or something they can or cannot do. Okay, everybody does things differently. Everybody has some form of special needs or being differently able. Whether you wear glasses, whether you walk with a limp, whether you have one arm, one leg, whether you're dyslexic, whether you're speech impediment, whatever it is that you suffer from, everybody deals with something that makes it hard, makes life hard. Okay, but in the same sense, exactly what Miss Winnie just said, that's something now that they can't get back. It was robbed from them, and it never should have happened in the first place, because it wasn't done by one very important word: protocol. Schools have protocol, and there were 5 aides there total, 5. And all of a sudden, they made an abrupt decision that wasn't, number one, verified by the superintendent, verified by the limo company, verified by the principal. They didn't even know about it. The limo driver, one of the kids went back down to sit down at the table. They were crying. They were crying and wanted to know what was going on, which is they should have been. Yeah. And when she asked them what's going on, why do I have to leave? She was told, I'm the adult. Get up, we're leaving. You demeanor a child like that. I'm glad I'm not a staff on that school.
I think it's very disappointing to know that they actually took the time and energy and whatever demeanor was going through them to go to each individual student and tell them they had to leave. Who does that? And what gave you the authority to feel like it was okay and think you wouldn't reap,
what you sow?
What made you think that you could do that and get away with it?
Who put them in charge all of a sudden?
I think it's absolutely crazy. And every parent, all 11 parents, should come together and they should do something. He should be reprimanded. He should not be in charge. He should not be a part of any type of organization. He should not have anything to do with any situation, any board, any event, nothing, because it clearly shows that he make bad decisions.
And I'm going to tell you something else too. He or she. Now, and you got to understand, Miss Winnie has a daughter with special needs. And I'm going to tell you right now, you mess with Kelly or Miss Winnie, you mess with me. Okay? These children, and I cannot say this enough. It is hard enough when you have to fight and be classified as different. But when you take away something as valuable as a senior prom, or you take away something that is special to an individual's life, special needs or not, these are people.
That's right.
These are people.
That's right.
We are talking about individuals who live and breathe and bleed and their heart beats just like everybody else. But because you see something different on the outside, or you see something different that is done, they're classified as special needs people. They deserve the same rights as everyone else, because I'm going to tell you what, some of these special needs people that you classify, that have Down syndrome and that have cerebral palsy and spina bifida, need to be running this country. Because you know why? They're smart and they're educated. They may not do things the way you do things, but they get it done. Whether it's mopping the floor, whether it's doing the dishes, whether it's getting upstairs, they get it done. And if you take away a prom night from my child when you're not even in charge, and all of a sudden take the role of being in charge, which you had no right to do, you shouldn't be reprimanded. You should be fired.
Yes, I agree.
Fired. Because I will say one of the aides, and it didn't specify who it was, the students asked, can we at least stay for the king and queen dance? And one of the aides said, I don't see why not. Okay. Then the other aides basically overrid that decision when they were told they could stay. And here's the part that a lot are not going to see, that these aides are not going to see. They don't know the trauma that they have caused these children.
Right.
And they look at it as a night of a prom. It's not only that. Some of the kids are not even coming, the seniors are not coming back to that school next year. So the imprint that is left in that child's mind, they're degraded, number one. They're humiliated, number two. And it's not just proms that do this. This happens everywhere, all over the world. because we are so busy putting labels on people because this person looks this way or this person does this a certain way that they're classified as different. And we talked about it just a little bit earlier in the show. There is no such thing as normal. If a person with special needs gets cut, do they not bleed? If a person with special needs, hits their hand or catches their hand in a doorway, do they not feel pain? So why do they get treated differently on the most magical night of their life? Because they're supposed to, and it's specified in the rules long before. This is not something that's thrown together in 2 weeks and it's over. This is known. They have protocol and things in place and rented limos and all of these staff members that are allegedly supposed to help. They're not helping the children. They're discriminating against them. I don't. And I know, Miss Winnie, you've dealt with this. Gosh, probably for most of your life dealing with Kelly. How do you not rip people's heads off? I can, because right now I'm just like, and it hurts me because I understand their pain.
Yeah, I've had several situations when Kelly was in school on different occasions, and I never made a phone call. I always showed up. And I don't believe in the phone calls. I believe in just showing up. Because sometimes, they could brush you off with the telephone.
Sure.
And, and stuff like that. And, I prefer not to. Just as this situation, like, again, I would want to see this person that made that decision, because I wanted to ask them, why would you do something like that? Why would you take away their special moment that they waited 12 years to be a part of? Why would you decide to do something like that? What gave you the authority? How in the world would you make such a decision to do such a thing? You robbed them. You took away something they could never get it back. And that sticks with me. So I can only imagine if that stick with me, what's sticking with each one of them that had to experience that. The sadness that they experiencing, being traumatized, being embarrassed and humiliated, and stood out from everybody and people watching. Can you only imagine how they felt being escorted out or something like that? Putting in a limousine, just brushing you off. It's like, boo, bye, be gone. That's a hurting feeling. And for a parent to hear something like that, that's more devastating for the parent to hear. After you've gone through all these years with your individual and doing great things for them, and you're excited for this moment and preparing them, and then this
and on top of all that, they've got to deal with not only what just happened, the traumatic the feelings of what just happened, on top of what they're already dealing with. There were parents, and in some of the letters, I just posted the link in the comments, guys. So the link is there, and feel free to click on that and see the videos for yourself. In some of the letters that these special needs children wrote, you could hear the pain in their words. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the next person that tells me special needs people can't communicate, I'm going to clothesline them. I am going to clothesline them, because Kelly can communicate, I can communicate, and these kids, they might not communicate in the way you are used to, but I promise you, if you take time to listen, if you slow down and you take time to listen, and you don't put yourself first, you will find out exactly what Kelly, what all of these young ladies and gentlemen are facing, because they can tell you. But just because they don't communicate in your way or the way that you're used to, does not mean that they don't communicate and they don't feel. And I know you agree with me on that, Miss Winnie.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So
it's just sad that the parents, have to really experience that as well. Because that's going to stick with them also.
The rest of their lives.
Yes, it's going to stick with the parents just as much as the individual because, as a parent, we go through these things, with the individuals and, take their heartaches and pain and, when kids pick on them and say things and, we go through these things with them. So I can only imagine
step by step,
their mind, just as much.
Yeah, that's the one thing because the one of the things that I struggled with, when I was a smaller child was getting dressed, and my mom used to tell me stories about she had to go out of the room and let me struggle to get dressed and cry on the front steps because she couldn't help me because she knew if she helped me that I would never figure it out on my own. She would go and she would sit on the front steps and rock back and forth and cry because she heard me struggle and she heard me get so upset. But you know what? I figured it out. And you talking about the parents going through it with them, they suffer. They suffer so much when their kids come home and they can't play in the sports that they want to play in, or they can't do the sports the way that the kids that can run do it. And they want to, but their class and one of the problems I think that started this, and I'm still kind of reflecting on, and this bothers me. They make this adaptive PE program, okay? But when they make these programs, they still isolate the special needs kids, and it's just special needs kids. They don't interact the other kids that can walk or the other kids that have uses of their extremities in with the special needs kids. The problem with communication and the problem with interaction is that people are afraid of what they don't understand. And if you learn that you can talk to a person like myself, that you can talk to a person like Kelly, that you can communicate with them, that you can treat them as individuals and as people and make them feel part of something. And it hurts me because now I wonder, and I will be following up on this. This one here, I'm going to stick with. But this one, I wanted to cover this on this show because this shows just how rough we have it. And I say we because I'm in that classification, but it's people that open doors. Like this principal, she spoke and she was hot. When she found out about this, when this happened, she was hot. And it wasn't because of the board meeting. You could see the emotion in her eyes. She felt for these people. She cares about these students. And I pray that this school makes it right, because if you don't, this is a black mark on your school for the rest of its life. This doesn't go away. People don't forget about things like this.
That's right.
And the next group of children or seniors who are disabled or differently abled or special needs, they're not going to want to go to a prom because they remember the fiasco that happened. And it affects people in all different ways. Not just this humiliation can do something to an individual that people don't realize. It can make them suicidal. It can make them feel like they're nothing. It can spin them into depression. There's hundreds of thousands of things like this can do, all because someone took it upon themselves to make a call they had no right making, to do something they had no right doing, and they ripped. And I'm going to say this again. They ripped something that was special from these kids. And now Facebook is trying to reconnect here. I apologize with what's going on. I don't know why this is. Let me see if we can get Miss Winnie. You still with me?
Yep.
Okay. We're still live on Let Go Radio. It's trying to reconnect right now. I don't know if Facebook is still rolling or what's going on. I don't
You're
want.
still live.
Okay. Yeah. I'm still good on the radio, but apparently Facebook is trying to reconnect. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to try to get Facebook Live back up here. Give me just a second. Let me.
Well, actually, I guess you would think, let me say that, you would think the staff and volunteers and everyone that was a part of it should know you don't do anything like that. So I guess it's hard to say that because, I mean, no protocol was taken. I mean, nobody asked anybody. Someone just simply made a decision to do something like that.
Right.
So, I mean, a good question though, how do you do it? Well, you know, this is an experience, okay? This is an experience that more than likely would never ever happen again. So the word should definitely be out there. And I think all schools at this point, principals and everybody get together, make that thing known out there. You do not by any means whatsoever take it upon yourself to dismiss any special needs child from a prom that they so deserve to be out going to such and such and such and such. Whoever the top person is in charge, that's who makes the decisions.
Exactly.
And no one else should have any rights making decisions, especially such as that. That is just so devastating.
And you know now that other schools are going to be looking at this.
Oh, absolutely, and they need to. This need to definitely go viral, so all schools can see this, and every school need to be tagged on it. Like seriously. But I think that this is definitely going to go out, get out there, and all schools should get together with all staff, aides, volunteers as a part of it, and it should be nobody to make any decisions on who leaves unless it's done by or said by or taken to whomever that top person is.
And this is a good point too that you just made. No one makes that decision. There should be a person there. There should be a top person and then a person there that's in charge that makes the overall decisions. And it should be brought to, because they said this whole thing could have been avoided. This whole thing could have been avoided so simply just by a phone call. All you had to do was call the person in charge, which it would have been the principal or the person that they call them the CM, the chief. I can't remember what the M stood for, but the person that was in charge of the festivities of the prom, and then the direct person, which would have been the principal of the school. She said that when she found out about this, she was called Saturday morning, and all this was dropped on her like a bombshell. So see, here's the problem. That's where the communication fell through. Right. That's where it didn't, and you have to communicate on a situation like this.
Yes, definitely.
And I think that, as you said, other schools should look at this. There should be a new protocol in place, and you've got to really evaluate the people that you hire to put in with work with special needs. Because if that person is not special themselves, and when I say special, I mean has a calling in their heart to work with special needs children, it is different. You have to have a calling to work with a special needs child, because you have to put them first. You can't put yourself first. You have to put them first to be that person, to work with them. You have to believe in them. You cannot work with a special needs child if you don't believe in them. Would you not agree?
I totally agree.
Mama Bear about to growl in a minute. I'm hearing it because
it's just really sad.
It is. It is.
You know what? This is my thing. They have special needs proms around, right?
Mm-hmm.
People have them, and I don't feel like it should be a special needs prom solely because the special needs can't attend their senior prom.
Right.
I feel like it should be because they decide that, oh, we're going to do this just because it's something great.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're capable and able to attend your own senior prom, then they have all the right to do that without being touched by any means whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like they should, oh, there's a special needs prom coming up. You attend that one. That should not happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At all.
And I think, with all of this, it is more everything that happens. People are, I've said this before at the beginning of the show, as we close out, everything that happens to a special needs child or children or adult or person, their brains are like sponges. Right. They need everything that happens to them. They don't forget, especially people with autism. They remember everything. And these things that happen like this are traumatic. And it brings they don't forget, and it brings an impact of pain that we can't relate to. And all of that. So I just want to say that, as we've been back up on Facebook now for a couple of, for about 6 minutes to close out the show. Don't just look at a person as a special needs person. Look at them as people and think for 1 second, if this happened to you and your legs work and your arms work and your minds work, and you're able to do the so-called normal things that society classifies as normal. If this happened to you, how would you feel? How would you feel? Know that you can reach us at our email, thesportsminionradioshow at yahoo.com. Follow us on Twitter, the Sports Minion Radio Show at Minion Sports. Follow Kelly's Choice Cares. We're getting ready to launch a lot of things in July. I know we've got some things coming up with the Gala Ball in November 16th. We've got the launch of Kelly's Choice Cares. I believe that's July 14th. Make sure that you guys go check out Kelly's Choice Cares, please. It's going to be awesome. And you can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on YouTube, the Sports Minion Radio Show, every Wednesday at 2:00. Where if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. 2 up, 2 down. This is D to the J with a roll away, and Miss Minnie the Mama Bear saying so long, everybody. Y'all have a great evening.
Okay, stop. Yeah, that was really bad. That happened, and I would be